Hello. Hello, good evening, everyone. Can anybody hear me, please?
Yeah, good
Good
evening.
evening.
Yeah, good evening to every one of you, and welcome to the Analytics Power BI Bootcamp. How many are we in the class right now? Okay. So we're gonna start right away. Please, I just want to confirm, please. Do you guys have Power BI installed on your system already? Just you can indicate raising your hand. We have about 23 people here. If you have Power BI installed on your system already.
No, I don't.
Have Power.
Oh, you don't have Power
I do
BI
not.
installed on your system already?
No, I don't.
Yes, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
You're on
Is
the
it
WhatsApp
free?
group, right? Yeah, Power
Yeah.
BI. Installing
Yes.
Power BI in your system is free. Power BI desktop is free. Then
Okay, can you just share
there's
the
a
link
video
on
also.
the?
Can you
There's a
share the link on the
video also
WhatsApp
on the
group, please?
WhatsApp group. Yeah. The link will be shared on the WhatsApp group in the next few minutes. So you can just follow the video and download Power BI. Then you also need a work email to publish your report for Power BI to Power BI service. That's also free. There's a way you go about it. The link to the two videos we posted on the WhatsApp link, so you can just get it.
They mad. Now get the street. Get dumb. Good. They're very stupid.
Okay, so we're going to begin right away. I don't know whose mic is on.
Hello, Ifasa. Hello. Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
But the other guy
Okay,
is.
Ifasa, you can turn off your video. I think it's affecting your network. And concerning the video for the Power BI, I sent the video yesterday, this morning. Please, I think we can continue with the class. For those that don't have they should just go to the class WhatsApp group. So I just find out they don't open that WhatsApp. So that place is actually meant for messages. They just open it and they will see all the messages. I sent it there, the video on how you can install Power BI desktop. So we can proceed with the class.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. So for today's class, we're going to actually, like I said, my name is Okedona Ifas, and I'm the Power BI facilitator and SQL facilitator for Amdo Analytics. So for today's class, we're going to be working on a case study. And the case study is actually related to HRO. It's a case study for GCHRO case study, employee insights and attrition analysis. So this is basically what a data analyst or a business analyst is likely to do in a company. They give you a set of data and they tell you to derive insights and come up with a tangible report or a critical report for them to be able to take critical decisions. So this is an HRO case study. Now, we've basically been presented the data set and we've been asked some questions. So we've been asked to present this report, the HRO department, so they can actually understand better their employee. Now, there are some terms we're going to be using along the line. So I'm going to come to my Microsoft Word here. I want to make a documentation of the terms. So by the end of the class, you can have access to it and also read up on them so you get to understand them better. So if you have Power BI installed, if you want to follow, that's if you have access to the data set. But I'm just going to fire up my Power BI right now. So I'll show you a sample of the reports, how the report looks like. This is how the report is actually going to look like by the time we're done with the report. We have the slides for the job role, the department, age group, business level, education level, and marital status.
Sorry,
so
you're not sharing your screen. We're not.
Please, I can't
we're not
see
seeing
your
my
screen.
screen.
Yeah, we can't see your screen.
I'm actually sharing my screen. Let me stop and share again. Share my entire screen.
On the
Please let me
WhatsApp
know when
group.
you can see. Yeah, they will do that. Can you see my screen now?
It's blank. Can you stop sharing and share again, please?
I just did that now. Okay, let me try again. Okay, share entire screen, presenting to everybody. Were you seeing my screen before now, when we started the class?
We were, but not the micro BI environment. We were seeing the guest list.
No. Before we started the
actually,
class, you were doing some things which we could see. Is that what you're asking?
okay.
Yes, you were doing something on Word and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you
because now I'm actually
came up with Power BI, but now we can't see.
I'm actually showing my entire screen. So if I navigate from any, I don't know what's okay. Let me just a few minutes. Let me try that again. Network. So okay, can you see my screen now, please?
Not yet.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me, please?
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can't see your screen. Okay, we can see it now.
But we can't see the screen.
Okay, can you see it now, please?
We can see your screen now.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you very much. So I just opened my Power BI desktop. Normally, when you fire up your Power BI desktop, this is the interface you're going to see. So I'm just going to close this first interface I'm seeing here. this is a feel of your Power BI desktop. And the beauty about Power BI is that you have the luxury to connect to different data sources. You can see you can import data from Excel, you can import from SQL, blank table, you can create your own sample data set. But for now, we already have the sample of the data set we're going to use in my system, is in my download. So I'm going to try and get the data from my download into Power BI. Then to do that, I'll just come to get data. It's actually a CSV file. So I'll navigate and say text and CSV. Then I have the option to come to my download. I'll just go to my download. I have my download sorted already. I'll navigate to Excel. Then I'll look for the data set we're going to use today. And that data set is actually HRO employee attrition. That's the data set we're using. That's the data set we're using. So I'm going to click on the data set. I'm open. Once I do
your
that,
screen is frozen.
it's going to take me to Power Query.
One that is not seeing your screen. I mean,
your screen is frozen.
You are seeing
frozen.
Pause. Can you slow down a bit?
Okay. I need to be sure you're seeing my screen. I don't know why.
some of us are not seeing.
Can I suggest that you log off and log in again? Because you started with video and that kind of.
That's why
I think that's better.
Wait,
serious
okay, just
lag.
wait for now. Can you see my screen now? Actually.
No.
Okay, let me just log out and log in.
Log out.
Okay.
Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen now, please?
Yes, we can. Can see your screen.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So I was saying that in Power BI, you have this luxury to connect to different data sources. Data source coming from Excel, data source coming from SQL. There are a luxury of data sources you can actually connect to. But for now, our data is a CSV file coming from Excel. So that's where we're going to connect to. So what I will just do, I will navigate to this bar here and click on Get Data. That's what I want to do now. Now, once I click on Get Data, like I said, you can connect to a lot of data sources. You can see from Excel, from Power BI, from data flows, data vars, SQL, and all. But for now, we just want a CSV file. So I'll click on Text and Strat CSV. Once I click on that, it takes me to my system where I can then navigate to where I have the file we want to connect to, the file I actually want to bring to Power BI. So I'll navigate and look for the file. The file is supposed to be HRO, that's HRO employee attrition. So I'll just click on it and click on open. Once I do that, it's going to open up an interface for me. I hope my screen is not static, please.
It is.
I'm actually moving my cursor now. Is it my cursor moving? Can you see my cursor moving?
No, it's not moving.
It's not moving, it's static.
Discuss today. Okay. Just switch the VPN network now. I hope this thing is resolved. Okay, can you see my screen, please?
No, not yet.
I can see the screen now.
Okay, you can see my screen, please. Can you see me moving the cursor? Is it static? Is it static for you, or you can see the cursor?
The cursor
Your
is not
screen,
moving.
there's no. I can't see your screen.
I can see the screen. I can see like the.
I can't even see your screen at all.
Wow.
I can't see the screen too.
Yeah, can I?
I can't see the screen too.
It's black.
Yeah, and I thought we were supposed to
Okay,
get
just hold.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening. Hello.
All right, so he's back. So let's see.
So, can you guys see my screen now, please?
No, we can't. I can't.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm actually moving my cursor. You can see that too.
The cursor is moving.
Okay, great. So,
The cursor is moving.
Okay, great. So,
sorry, I'm thinking. I thought you would have shared the data with us, so just so we work with you.
Yeah, you actually. Don't worry, you get the data. You get the data. Let's just walk through. You get the data. You get it. Yeah, you get the data. So, let me just go back to how I got here. So, first I said get data, and I said text to CSV. Then I navigated to my data. I said HR employee attrition. I click on open. So that's how I actually got here. So for now, this is just a preview of the data set, just 200 rows of the data set that I'm seeing here. This is not the entire data set. So this is just a preview. Now, Power BI is asking me what I want to do. Do I want to just load the data, then probably go and transform the data later, or I want to transform the data before loading the data? So those are the two processes, which is ETL and ELT. The ETL is you extract the data, you transform the data, then you load the data into Power BI. The ELT is more like you extract the data, you load the data before you transform. But for now, we want to do the ETL process. That means we want to extract the data, which we've done already. Now we want to go and transform the data. So What I'll do, I'll just click on transform data. Then it will take me to Power Query. So Power Query is more like the tool for Power BI, where the tool you can actually use to transform your data, clean your data before you load your data to Power BI. So Power Query is where I'm going to perform. If there's any data cleaning I need to do, any data transformation I need to do, this is exactly where I'm going to do it. For this data, is a straight table, is one huge table. So I'm just going to navigate to view. I hope my screen is not stuck, please. I'm going to navigate to view. I'm going to click on column profile. Column profile, then I'm going to navigate down here. This is a profile based on the first 1,000 rows I have, but I have more than 1,000 rows. If you look here, you see count 1,000. So this profile I'm seeing for each column, this is the profile for each column, is based on the first 1,000 rows, but I want to see the entire data set. So I'll just come down here a little and click on column profiling based on entire data set. So that gives me what it's trying to tell me now. I have 1,470 columns on this data set. So 1,470, that's the number of columns I have on this data set. So this will give you a preview of the entire data set, each column one after the other. So you can actually see on top here, that's the column distribution. This telling you we have 46 unique numbers on this row here, on this column, this age column. 46 are actually unique, distinct, 0 unique. So that's just the column distribution. You can also come to column quality. Column quality will tell you if there are errors 0%, 0%, and all that. So that's basically how you just look through your data to make sure everything is in order. The one thing I'm going to check for this data set again is I'll try to make sure that the data type for each column actually, whatever they said is the data type, I want to ensure that's the data type in that column. Now, how do I know the data type? Once you have this column selected and you go to home, now you see the data type here. It's saying the data type for each column is actually whole number. So I'll just have to verify that. But by the side of age here, when you look, you see 1, 2, 3. That's to also tell you that that's the data type for age. The data type for age is actually whole number. So what I just want to do is just to ensure that, okay, age, the data type is actually whole number. That's great. For attrition, the data type is, okay, is a text. So what do I have on my attrition is actually text. So that's what I'll just make sure. Okay, business level is actually text. That's what I have on my data type also. That's what I have on the rows here. So because we don't want a situation where the data type is actually showing a text, meanwhile we are having a whole number or decimal number for our data set. That's one of the things you also check out for, you look out for once you have your data in Power Query. So we have about 35 columns for this data. If you wonder why I'm seeing that, I'm seeing it down here. We have 35 columns for this data set, 35 columns. So we have 35 columns for the employee data set. Now, one thing I'm going to do again for this employee data set is actually what we call data modeling. Now, when you model your data, it will result in two types of schema. Schema is more like a database. So when you model the data, you have two resulting schema. We call one a star schema. A star schema, when you have a big table, then you have the brothers and sisters, or more like dimension table connected to them. While a snowflake schema is when you have a big fact table, you have dimensions connected to the table, and you also have other dimensions connected to the several dimensions. But for now, this data is actually a straight data set. There's nothing much actually evolving in the data. So we're just going to do a very simple data modeling for this data set. And what I mean by data modeling actually consists of three major things, or four. The first thing is for you to identify what we call an entity. When you identify the entity in the data model, you then have to identify the attributes of that entity. So what I'm trying to say in the real sense is, for example, myself, I can be an entity in this data set because I can be an employee. Then if I'm an employee, then you have to, that means I'm an entity already. Then what are my attributes? Attributes are more like, what are my characteristics? Then you have to go naming my characteristics, like I have a name, I have an employee number, I have an age, I probably have some educational qualification. Those are my attributes. Then you go ahead to talk about employee relationship, which is entity relationship. In this sense, it's called entity relationship diagram. What am I related to? I'm related to this company in so many ways. I have a department I'm working for. I have a role which I'm actually assuming in the company. So what we're going to do now, we're going to split this entire data set into 3 different entities or 4. The first entity is going to be the employee himself, which is the employee. So how do we do that? For now, I just want to show you the columns we have in this data set. So you know a feel of the number of column. I already said it's 35, but let me show you the number of column and the name of each column. I'll duplicate this table. I'll just right click on the table. Now click on duplicate. Once I do that, I have another copy of the employee table here already. So what I'll do next.
Sorry to interrupt you, Efasa. I don't know if I'm the only one, but your screen is static.
Yeah, right. Yes, same here. And I also want to ask if it's being recorded.
Yeah, it's being recorded. It's being recorded.
Yeah, but it's not what is showing on the screen that is being recorded.
Yes.
No.
So even if it's being recorded, if you're not seeing your simulation, we won't be able to see it while watching the recording too.
No, you will.
No.
I'm actually sharing my screen. You'll see the simulation, but I'll stop sharing and share again. So to see if I can fix that. I've changed my network several times I've used all the 3 networks I have. So I don't really know why I'm having this issue today. Can you by any chance see my screen, please?
No.
It's blank, sir.
Yes, it's back.
It's back.
No.
Okay.
But we need to see you demonstrate your cursor to be sure that we're on the same page.
Okay. I'm moving my cursor now. Can you see it, please?
It's static.
It's static.
Very slow.
Oh, it's slow.
Slow.
Okay. Which network do I connect to? Low, MTN, network, which one? Let me just try another network. Are you by any chance seeing my screen now, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm moving my cursor also. Can you see me moving my cursor?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, great. I'm really sorry about the network issue. Okay, so let me just delete this again. So I'll go over that, what I did. So I said we're going to model our data. So for us to model the data, we need to be able to identify maybe the key entities we have in the data, the attributes of these entities, and we now do entity relationship diagram, which is more like the model. So what I want to do now, I just want to show you the entire 35 columns we have in this data. I know for me to do that, I have to keep scrolling, navigating to my right, which I don't want to do. So what I want to do to bring out the entire column we have in the data set, I'll right click on the data set, I'll duplicate it. Once I duplicate it, that means I have another copy. Now, I already know that this data set, we have 1,470 rows, right? So what I'll do is I'll come to remove rows in the columns for this data set. I want to show the columns we have. So I want to remove rows. I want to remove rows from the bottom. That's bottom rows. So I'll click on remove bottom rows. Now I know we have 1,470. So I'll remove 1,000. 469. Once I do that and click on OK, I only have one row of data here. Now, I still can't see the entire column yet. So what I'll do, I'll simply press Ctrl A to highlight the entire data set. That's the duplicate table. I'm not working with the main table here. I'll press Ctrl A to highlight the entire data set. I'll come to transform here. Then I'll come to on pivot columns. So immediately I click on pivot column. You see, I have a transformation. It switches my rows to column and my columns to rows. So now I'm only interested in the columns I have in the data set. So I'm going to remove this. Now, if you see on top of the columns, this is the entire column that I have on the data set. You see on top of it is saying attributes. All these are attributes. So attributes of the employee per se, that's what I mean. These are attributes of the employee. We have the employee age, the attrition, the business level, daily rate, department, distance from home, education fee, the employee count, and all that. So that's the entire 35 column we have on the data set. So with this, you'll be able to see the entire column on the data set. Now, we're going to do the modeling. We're probably going to model this into 4 different tables. We're going to start with the first table, which is going to be the employee demographics. And what I mean by demographics, we just want the employee number, the ID,
Sorry,
the ID of the employee.
Screen is a little bit static. I don't know if it's from mine, but I can't follow what you did.
Okay, I'm trying to move.
Hold on. So,
I think just continue. I think the last time she was sitting, it's still the same thing. But when I watched the video, I realized it wasn't static. Maybe you should just continue. If not, we will not be able to do anything today.
Okay. Can you? I'm trying to move my cursor. Can
I'm
you see
also
my screen?
suggesting if you can change, if you can use, is this Zoom, this thing, Google Meet or something.
Google Meet. How do we do that now? If we
you
use Google Meet,
to follow
okay, maybe tomorrow we use Google Meet. Okay, maybe tomorrow we'll use Google Meet tomorrow. But I'm actually sharing my screen and I'm recording, so you get access to the recording and everything I'm actually doing. So one more time, let me just try. Let me stop sharing and share again. Let's be sure. I actually had a class today and I didn't actually have any network issue. I'm using the same network. Okay, so one more time, can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can.
We can, just that we've been lost, but it's okay. We'll watch the recording. I've been lost. Let me not speak for other people.
Yeah, we have been lost. I've been lost too. So I'll watch the recording.
Okay. Okay, don't worry. You'll be found. You'll be found. You will not be lost. So what I did is I duplicated my employee table and I extracted all the columns. You know, I have to be scrolling. If I'm working with this, imagine I have to be scrolling to my right every time I want to see the entire column. I have to be going this way. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. So what I did is I created another duplicate table and I extracted only the column. And when you see on top here, you see attributes. These are 35 attributes of the employee for GC company. They are 35 attributes. Now, these attributes, I want to classify them. More like I want to break them down. I don't want to carry the entire attribute the way it is in this large table into my Power BI. I want to break them down. And for me to break them down, I want a situation where we have employee demographics. Employee demographics is basically the employee, the age, if he's married or not, those kind of simple demographics. Then I want to also have another table where I will just see the employee performance, more like the employee performance. I have another table, say the employee education level and all that. So for me to start now, I want to start with the demographics. That's the employee demographics. What I will do again is I'll come to my table here. I'll make another duplicate because I want to split this single table. I want to split it into 4. So I'll make another duplicate. I'll say duplicate this employee attrition. Now I have the third duplicate. What do I want to do now? I'll simply name this duplicate. I'll say it's either you can name this duplicate in two different ways. You can just double click here and rename, delete and rename. We can call this employee, or let's take it back and say fact. That's a fact table. I'll say employee. Now, once I hit enter, automatically rename this already. Once I rename this, if you come to my applied step, on top of my applied step, you see properties. Look at the properties here. I'm actually trying to wave my screen. You see that the name of the table has automatically changed. So if I decided that I want to add S because I didn't add S, it's supposed to be employees, but I have employee. So I'll just click here and add S to it. The table names automatically changes. You can see it changed already. So now, for the fact employee table, we only want columns that are related to the employee demographics. So how do we identify those columns? Now, if my screen is not frozen, I'll simply come to home. While on this fact employees that we just renamed now, I will come to choose column. I'll choose column. I'll click on choose columns. Yeah, I have the luxury now. These are the 35 columns in this data set. They are 35, but I want to choose. And I want to choose columns that are related to employee demographics for this table only. So what I will do is I will unselect all. Once I unselect all, I'll start picking the columns that are related to employee demographics. Now, how do I start by doing that? I will tick age. I already know that age has something to do with employee demographics, so I will tick age. Now, I will tick attrition. Attrition means if the employee is still in the company or is not in the company anymore. As the employee left, is the employee still in the company? So it's always yes or no. So I also want that. Now, business travel, I don't want that yet. Now, I want to come down again. This is employee number. Employee number. Employee number is more like the primary key to the employee. For anytime you are employed in a company, they give you a unique number. That number is unique to you only. So we want to grab that. I'll take that also. Then we have the gender. I want to also take the gender. That's either the employee is a male or a female. I'll keep scrolling to see if there's any other one I would love to take. Now, I think I want to take marital status, so I'll click on marital status also. I'll keep checking if there is any other one I would love to take to add to the employee demographics. That's just
over 18.
Okay.
There's something about over 18. I don't know.
Job role.
Over 18. I think it's talking about age.
Okay, yeah, over 18 is trying to say if the employee is above 18 years or below 18 years. So if you want us to add that, it's simple. We can add that also. Now, okay, you're seeing my screen. That's great. So
Yeah, how about
what
job
other
role?
thing do you think?
The job
Okay,
role.
job role.
Job level.
Okay.
How about the
Okay, job role.
How about daily
Job
rates
level.
or hourly work?
Daily rates. What if we add daily rates to the employee performance, because we're going to have a performance table. Maybe we'll add daily rates to that. Now, okay, we have the job role, the job level. Are we going to add job satisfaction there? If the employee is satisfied with the job or not?
That's a different metric.
Okay. So how about number of companies worked for? Do we need to put that there? Because the employee has probably worked for more than one company. So we'll know if the employee has worked for more than one company or not. So if we're not going to add any other thing, let me go through again. Okay, maybe we'll add the number of company worked for. Then
how about total working years?
Total working years. Is it there's total working years? Total working years. Okay, that's great. Okay, so now we have okay, we're through with the employee demographics. So I'll just click on OK. Once I click on OK, I have just the part of the table for employee demographics only. Now, what I need to do is I have to take this employee number I want it to be the first column on the data set, so employee number. Now, remember, this is column profiling based on the first 1,000 rows. So next, what I'm going to do now is, let's now go to employee, let's say the education level, or educational performance, or department. Let's start with the department. Now, I'll come back to my employee attrition again. I'll make another duplicate. I'll just make another duplicate here. Now, I want to say, I want to call this a dimension table. I'll say this is a dimension table, and it's a dimension to department. Say department. So once I name this, now I have to come back again and say choose column. I want to choose columns. This time around, I'm no longer taking age, I'm not taking attrition. First thing I'll need to take is the employee number, because I need the employee number. I always need the employee number to connect to the employee demographics. In this case, we're only going to have a one-on-one relationship. There are 3 types of relationship. If I say there's one-on-one, many-to-one, or one-to-many relationship. So this time around, we're going to take the employee number. We've taken that. Now we're interested in the department, so we'll take the department the employee belongs to. Now, what other thing do we need here? The employee department. Okay. Okay. So we already have job level and job role on the other side. Yeah, job level, job. Okay, we can take job level. We can take the job involvement, job level.
I think job role and job
satisfaction.
level.
Take job level.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we already have
Job level.
job level. Yeah, I've taken that. We have job role on the
Job role.
demographics already. So yeah.
Traffic, okay.
So
Okay.
So how about
yeah,
the
So
hourly
it has to
rates,
be one
monthly
in one.
rates, hourly rates?
Okay.
yeah, we're going to add that. Now the next table is going to be performance. So we're going to add that hourly rate, monthly rate, every other thing, monthly income and all that. We're going to add it there. So now we have job involvement, job role. Okay, so business travel, no business travel. So I'll click on OK. I'll click on OK now. Once I click on OK, we already have here department. So I'll take the employee number. I want it to be the first also. Now we have the department, the job involvement, job level, and job satisfaction. So now we want to go to employee performance. What I'll do again, I'll simply duplicate the table one more time again. Now I'll call this performance. I want this to be performance. So I'll say this is a dimension again, and it's performance. Once I do this, I hit my enter button. Okay, I made a mistake there. So I'll just change this, make this M. Now, I still have to come back again and I'll choose columns. When I choose column this time around, please, that person should help us. Okay. Whose mic is on, oh, please?
Hello.
Can you guys hear me, please?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, that's great. So this time around, we're talking about performance. So I'm just going to take the employee number again. Now, we're not going to take the daily rates. We want to know the daily rates. We want to also know the hourly rates. We want to know the monthly income. We want to know the monthly rates. We want to know if the employee works overtime, percent salary hike, performance rating, relationship satisfaction, standard hours, stock option level, total work, training, work-life balance, years at the company, years in current role. So those are all the things we want to know about the employee performance. I think the next thing will be education. So that settles it. Okay. Okay. So that's great. So I'll click on OK. So now I'm going to take one final table. Now, maybe I don't need to take another table anymore. I'll just work on this very table we have now. And I'll call this the education. That's the education table. So I'll say dimension again and say education. So you can actually add employee to this so that it will say education, hit my enter button. So I'll come here and then I'll choose column again. I'll pick on selector, I'll go down and pick the employee number. Now I can take the education field. I think that those are the two things related to education here. Okay. Those are the two things related to education here. Okay. So I know I missed something, so I want to come back to my demographics. And I want to go back to my removed columns. I want to add the business travel, and I want to add distance from home also. So those are the two things I think I missed. Okay, so we're good to go. I'll simply hit OK, and that settles it. So now we have 4 tables. Remember, this table is actually not important. It's just the column table. So I'll delete it. Say OK. So now, instead of having that big 35 column table, now we have 4 tables. We've actually splitted the entire data into 4 different tables. So now that we're done with this is our first transformation. Now, there's something I also want to do. When you come to employees here, you see that we have age here. If I click on the drop down close to age, I have from age 18 years to 60 years. If I click on load more, okay, I have from age 18 to 60 years, 18 to 60 years. Now, I don't want to take this age column. I don't want to take it to Power BI this way. Rather, I would want to do something. And what I want to do is I want to group the ages. I want to say something like, if your age is from 18, you remember when you used to fill some form online, you see your age range, they normally give you the 18 to 25, 25 to 30, 35 to 40 and all that. So that's what I want to do now. I want to group this age into that category where you have 25 to probably 18 to 20, 18 to 25, then maybe 26 to 35 and all that. So to do that, I'll simply say, now I want to add another column. It's actually a conditional column because I want to create some condition. The condition that if your age is between a certain age range, you should be within this level. So what I want to do now is I'll simply come to add column here, and I'll click on conditional column here. Once I click on conditional column, now a custom column pops up. Now, what's the name of the conditional column I want to create? I just want to say, I'll say age, let's say age class, because I want to classify the ages. Now, the first thing is going to ask me, now if, is asking me if, which column am I referring to? I'm referring to the age column. So what do I want to say? I want to say if your age, now I want to say if it's less than or equal to, if your age is less than or equal to 25, it should give you an age range of saying 18 to 25. That should be your age range. So between 18 to 25 years old you're going to have 18 to 25 in this age class column. So that's not all, because we have from age 18 to 60. So I'll click add another clause. I want to add another clause also. Else if your age now is also less than or equal to, now we already have 18 to 25. That means we need from 26 to probably 35. So I'll say is less than or equal to 35. You should fall between your ages 26 to 35. Now we still have some few years to go. I add another clause and say if your age this time around is less than or equal to, now we have 35 already. We have to 35. That means we need from 36 to 45. So I'll say 45. That means for this range, you are 36 years old to 45 years old. Now, finally, I'll say, okay, one more clause again. I'll say your age again. If your age is less than or equal to, now we have to 45. Now I want to say, okay, let's say 55. So I'll say 55 now. Now you are actually 45 to 55 years. Now, any other person, if your age range is not within here, that means we want to say you are actually 56 years and above.
Sorry, from that,
I can hear you.
the last age range is supposed to be from 46 to 55.
Okay, yeah. 46 to 55. Okay, that's great. So 46 to 55. So if you're not 55 years old, now we want to say that means you are 56 years and above. 56 and above. So once I hit the OK button in this case, we're going to have a new column created. This is a new column created, age class. So I'll move this new column now. I'll just right click on the new column. I'll click on move. I want to move it to the beginning. Once I move it to the beginning, I'll take it from the beginning and put it side by side, age. Now, if you look at age and look at age class, this person, the first row here, we have 41 years old. If you look at the age class, it falls between 36 and 45 years old. That's to say that our age class, the conditional column we created for age class is actually in order and perfect. I think that's one of the transformation I want to make here. If there's no other transformation we want to make, then we can click on File and click on Close and Apply so that we can load the data into Power BI. So now the data is actually loading to Power BI. We're going to give it some time so the data can actually load to Power BI. So it's loading.
Sorry, Fusa, if the data is just loading into Power BI, which environment have you been working on?
Okay, I've been working on Power Query. You know, I told you there are two. Okay, yes, so there are two. They actually said it. Actually, there are two processes. Now, we have the data extraction. You transform, then you load. Then we actually have the extraction. You load, then you transform, which is ETL and ELT. Now, Power Query is actually the tool for data transformation. When you want to do data transformation, Power Query is actually in Excel, it's actually in Power BI. So when you're done doing your transformation in Power Query, you load to either Excel or you load to Power BI. Now we've actually loaded the data into Power BI. So if you come to this data in here, look at the data pane here, you see the department, the education, the performance, and the employees. So if you come to your model view here, you see the four tables here.
Sorry, please. How do you load this HR data on the Power BI? Because I tried to load it from my system. I downloaded it on my system. Then I tried to load it from Power BI. It's bringing the old the one we did the last time. That's what it's bringing. I tried everything. It's not coming up on Power BI.
Wait. Okay. For me to bring, I took the HRO data set to Power Query. So look at what I did here. Look at what I did basically. I was here actually in Power BI. Then I clicked on Get Data. Then I said Text and CSV. Did you do that?
No, yeah. I did not.
I clicked on Get Data. No, I click on Get Data. Then I said Text and CSV. Once I did that, I have that data in my downloads. This is my downloads. My downloads, I already arranged it in a way that I know that data is in Excel in my downloads. So I clicked on Excel. I will navigate to where I have the data. I'll navigate down. Look at it here.
So now, sorry, please. I will go to, is it from the background, is it paste data into blank page or import data from Excel?
Where are you? No, where are you now? So from this Power BI background you are now, this Power BI background you are now. This
no. How do you get to this page? How do you get to this build visual with your data?
That's what I'm saying. First, I open Power BI. Power BI will bring me here normally.
When you open Power BI, Power BI will not bring you here. Power BI will bring you to add data to your report.
No. Let me open Power BI. This is another Power BI. Now, if you are having that green background, you can actually close that one. Just close that first background you're having there. That green first background you're having there. You can close that one. Unless you want to import. You can also navigate from there. You see Get Data there now. On the first phase interface you're seeing, there's Get Data there.
Yes, I saw get
If you
data
look
on the top. Yes.
yeah, you can
Get data.
yeah, you can click on
Text.
get data. It's
Text, right?
when you click on text and CSV, yeah.
Okay.
You now click on text and CSV. When you click on text and CSV, then
I've
you
seen it.
navigate
HR
to where you
employee.
have
Yeah, I've seen it. Then open. Okay, you can continue. Continue.
All right, great.
Sorry,
great.
just to ask, please, no verse. I extracted my data into an Excel, and I can see your own is primarily in text and CSV. Will it alter my my
No,
report?
it won't. No, not at all.
Right.
It won't alter your reports.
So when I did that, sorry, when I did that, is it load data or transform data?
Now that's what I was trying to explain before. Now that you can actually do two things. There's ETL process. The ETL process is when you load, you extract, you transform before you load. Now, what we did for this class, we extracted, we transformed the data already before we loaded the data. So now you can decide to do the transform. So you click on transform data. That will take you to Power Query when you can transform the data before you load it to Power BI. Now, that's what we've practically done. But there are situations where the data that you are bringing is actually in order. Maybe it's in order. You don't need to do any cleaning. You don't need to do any alteration or anything. So you just do an ELT. That means you extract, you load straight. If you want to do any transformation, you do it here. So for now, you can transform your data. I need to close one of these Power BI so I don't slow down my system. Okay, so back to where we were. So this is our Power BI. We succeeded in loading our 4 tables. These are the 4 tables we created: department, education, performance, employees. Those are the 4 tables we have here now. So if you come to your data model, this is your data model here. The second Power BI is giving my system issue. I need it to close, please. So we come to model view, model view, model view. Close now. This part here is giving my system issue. Okay, just hold, please. I need you to close. Don't need you anymore. Okay, great. So this is the model view now. The model view now, I will just take the fact that's the this now I have now it's seeing my education table as the fact. So I don't want it to be that way. What I'll do is I'll delete the relationship. This line you're seeing is trying to form a relationship between the 4 tables, but I don't want the kind of relationship it's forming now. So I'll just delete them. I'll delete the relationship. I'll actually connect them again, but I just want to delete them to be sure that is the connection I want that is actually given. So I'll delete this. Now, the kind of connection I want is, I want everybody to be connected to these fact employee tables. It's going to be a one-on-one connection, which means one-on-one connection instead of one-to-many. But it's okay. It's still going to work, and it's still going to work fine. So how do I do that connection? The common column we have in all these tables is actually employee number. If you look at the performance, employee and if you look at this department, you see employee number also. So what I'll do, I'll just click on employee number here and drag it and drop it on this fact employee number. So it's going to create a connection. Like I said, it's one-on-one because this data is actually it's not evolving. So that's why we're having a one-on-one connection. So I'll come back here. I'll click on the education employee number. I'll join it to the employees also. I have a one-on-one connection also. Then finally, I'll take on the department number. I'll take it to the employee number on the fact employees. So I have the 3 tables connected together now using this fact employee. They are connected together. This is the line of connection. You can see it here. And you can see the relationship, one-on-one relationship. But one of the best things you can actually do in Power BI is always strive to have a one-to-many relationship and a star schema. This schema now, for example, like I said, is actually starting the education and the performance. Are we good, please? Can everybody see?
Yes.
The line is breaking.
See my screen, please. Can you all see my screen, please?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
So now we have our connections in order already, so we're good. So this is our report view. One of the things I'll do in our report view now is this is actually the Canva. This is where we're going to do everything we want to do, the entire report we want to do. The amazing thing is you can always alter your Canva size. You can always change this Canva size. That's this white background you're seeing here. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. It depends on what you want to do. But for now, I think we're actually okay with this, but I'll make a small, very slight adjustment just to increase it a little. And how do I do that? I'll simply come to this format your report page here. I'll click on it. Then I'll click on Canva settings. When I click on Canva settings, this is the setting we actually have now, 720 1290. That's 16:9 ratio. It's very critical that you maintain the aspect ratio. So what I want to do now is I'll click down, I'll click on custom, and I will make an adjustment from the height. I'll say the height should be 1080. Then I'll say the width should be 1920. It's just a slight increase. It's not really much, but I think I prefer it this way. I just want to have a little extra space because of what we want to actually do. So now we have our 4 tables here. We have our Canvas size here. Now we now go to the case study. We're not going to go to the case study. We're trying to attempt to answer all the questions from the case study, what is required of us. So if you come down here to my Microsoft Word, I'll scroll down to the first question we have. The first question I have here is, what is the distribution of ages among employees in the data set? Can we identify specific age group that are more prevalent in the company? Now, this is the reason we actually grouped our ages before now. We grouped our ages into different age groups so that we'll be able to identify if there's any specific age group that are more prevalent in the company. So for now, what we're going to do is simply come to our Power BI now. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a DAX measure. DAX is actually called data analysis expression. There are measures you create that will enable your report flow faster. More like if you want to make some calculations in your report, you create a measure and you're able to make these simple calculations, simple to complex calculation using DAX. So we're going to create a simple DAX now. The simple DAX is we want to know, the first thing we actually want to know is how many employees do we have in this company? I have no idea as of this moment. I don't know the number of employees we have in this company. So that's the first thing we want to do. So we're going to create a DAX measure to know the number of employees we actually have in the company. So for me to do that, I can actually stay on this fact employee here and click on new measure. But I don't want to do that. One thing I love to do is I love my measures, which are my DAX expressions, to be separated from my tables. I love my DAX expressions to be on their own while my tables are on their own. Now, what I'll do is I'll simply click on, I'll go to home. When I'm on home, I'll click on enter data. Once I click on enter data, there's a small window that is going to pop up. I don't want to create any table. I'll simply come and name this table. I'll say this table is DAX measures. Like I said, I want all my measures to be on their own so that I'll simply know which measure is which. Like I want my things to be arranged uniformly. So I'll simply say DAX measures and I'll load. Once I do that, it's more like I'm creating a new table called DAX measures. So once I do that, you're going to see a table will pop up on this data pane here. So when you see the data pane, look at the table up here, DAX measures. This is the table we just created now, DAX measures. So on these DAX measures now, I will stay on these DAX measures and I will come and click on new measure. This is new measure. If you see my cursor is hovering on new measure, it said write a DAX expression that calculates a value from your data. What value do we want to calculate from this our data? We actually want to calculate the total number of employees. That's the first value we want to calculate. So I'll click on new measure. Once I click on new measure, the window is going to pop up. It's going to ask me to write my measure. So what do I want to do? I'll name my measure first. Where I have measure, I'll simply rename it. I'll say this measure is supposed to be total employee. I'll say total employee. Right? Then what do I want to do? It's just, I want to do a distinct count. Now, remember I said the employee number is actually unique to each employee. For every employee, there's a number assigned to that employee. So I want to count that number. No, now I don't want to count that number. I don't want to count any number that is repeating. I want to do a distinct count so that any number, I don't count any employee twice. I want to count an employee just once. So I'll do a distinct count. I'll just say distinct. So I'll say distinct count. Once I say distinct count, I have options to go to any of my table, but I already know that I want to go to my fact tables. So I go to my fact table and I look for employee number. This is employee number. I click on it. I close my brackets. Once I close my bracket, I hit enter, and I've actually created a measure to calculate the total number of employees I have. Now, if you come to the DAX measures, you see a new a measure has been created called total employee. Now, there's another column behind underneath it. That one is column 1. I don't want that column 1, so I'll just simply right click on it and I'll delete from model because that column 1 is actually an empty table. It's nothing. I'll delete it from there. Once I delete it, you see I now have my measures on top of my tables. So any measure I'm going to create it on this my DAX measure. Now I've created a DAX measure called total employee. So I need to display the total employee. I want to know the total employee we have in the company. I'll simply pick on a card visual here. Any of this is a card visual. This is a new card visual. This is the old card visual. So let's just take the new card visual. So this is the card visual here. So I'll select total employees as one of my measures and see what's the value that is going to come out there. So now I have the value showing 1K. 1K is in 1,000, but I actually want to show the entire employee. I don't want it to show it in using 1,000 or million. So I'll come to format now. I'll come to format. This is the call out value. That's the value that is to display on the card. I'll go to call out value. I'll scroll down. Now look at the display unit. It's saying auto. I'll click on the display unit and I'll say none. Once I say none, you see that I have 1,470 employees. That's the total number of employees we have in the company as of this day. That's the total number of employees we have in the company. Now, there are other things I would love to know before we continue our calculation. One of the things I would love to know also is how many job roles do we have in the company currently? And also, I want to know the job roles we have in the company. I also want to know the departments we have in the company. Those are the two things, because when you talk about employee, the employee is actually tied to a job role. The employees actually belong to a particular department. So in this case, let's just know how many job roles are we talking about here for this company? How many job roles are available? How many departments are available? So we simply go back again and click on DAX. We stay on our DAX measure and we'll click on new measure. Now, what do we want to do this time around? We just want to count the job role and we want to also count the department to know the number of department and the number of job roles we have. So I'll name my measure. I'll say total job roles would be equal to, I also want to do a distinct count because I don't want to count a particular job role twice. Now, where do I find job roles? I think it should be on the fact table also. Come to the fact table, look at job role here. This is job role. I click on it, I close my brackets, hit enter. So I've actually created a measure. That's my measure, total job role. So once I expand my visual pane, I pick another card visual and I click on total job role. So we have 9 job roles. That's what it's telling me here, that we have 9 job roles. We have 9 job roles. That's what it's saying here. Now we need to create, we want to know the number of departments we also have. So I'll stay on measures again and click on new measure. Now, this measure, I want to call it total departments so that we'll know the number of departments we have in the company. So I'll say total departments. So I also do a distinct count because I don't want to count any department twice. So I'll do a distinct count also. Now department, we already know we have a department table. So that's the department. So I'll close it, close my bracket and hit enter. So we've created 3 measures now, the employees, the job roles, and the department. So I'll bring another card visual and I'll click on department this time around. I'll select department. So we have 3 departments. We have 3 departments. We have 9 job roles, 3 departments, 1,470 employees. So now that we have this, we have these 3 important KPIs. Now, there's one very important KPI in this entire data set, and that KPI is actually attrition. Like I said, let's navigate back to our table view and go to our fact employee. There's a column called attrition, and attrition has 2 values, just 2 values, yes or no. Now, yes means the attrition is more like, is the employee still in the company? Yes, the employee is still in the company. No, the employee is not in the company. No, has the employee left the company? No, the employee has not left the company. Has the employee left the company? Yes, the employee has left the company. So yes means the employee is no longer with the company. No means the employee is still with the company. So for every employee ID that is tied to no, that means that employee is still in the company. But if the employee ID and the attrition is yes, that means the employee has left the company. So how do we now know these 2 things? How do we know the employees that have left the company and the employees that are still in the company? Now, we need to write a measure, and that measure is actually to determine if the numbers of employees that are still with the company currently and the numbers of employees that have left the company. Now, attrition is actually dealing with employees that have left the company. There's also what we call retention. Retention is now dealing with the employees that are still with the company. So we have 2 ways. There's attrition dealing with the number of employees that have left the company. There's retention dealing with the numbers of employees that are still with the company. So what we need to do now is to create a measure that will calculate the percentage of employees that are still in the company and the percentage of employees that have left the company, which are 2 different measures. One will be attrition rate to show the percentage of employees that has left the company. The other one will be retention rate to show the percentage of employees that are still with the company. So I'll start by writing a measure to do that. So I'll stay on measures again, DAX measures. I'll click on new measure. Now, the first we want to calculate is actually what we call the attrition rate. So I'll say attrition rate, that's the name of our measure. Attrition rate in percentage. I'll put the equal to sign. Now, for us to calculate this attrition rate, it's a simple percentage. We need to know the total number of employees, which we know already. Then we need to know the total number of employees that have left the company. Then we'll do a division, then times 100. So how do we do that? Now, I'm going to define what we call a variable character when you're writing DAX. So when I say var, what I'm trying to say is that I want to name this. I want to say total employee. I want to create a variable saying total employee. This variable is total employee, and I want to assign it to, I want to say this variable is equal to, we already have a measure called total employee here. So I want to assign this variable to this measure called total employee. I assign it to this measure, say total employee. Now, we have a variable that is holding our total employee already. Now we need another variable to hold the number of employees that has left the company. I'll say employee. I'll just say let's just say employee left. Those that have left the company. Now, for me to do this, I have to know the total number of employees, and I have to filter by. I have to do a filter to see when the attrition is actually yes, because attrition is asking you has the employee left? Yes, he has left. No, he has not left. So I have to filter by when the attrition is actually yes. So what I'll do here, there's this DAX expression called the calculate that has a filter context. This will enable you calculate. It also add a filter context. If you look at it now, evaluate an expression. He said it's not for beginners.
I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you. I don't know. My brain is working overtime.
No. Seriously, but these are just simple. Measures we're creating. There are a lot of measures you can actually create in Power BI. So it may sound strange because maybe it's your first time or maybe your second time, but with time you actually get that. These are actually very simple things you can actually grasp, and they don't take time. So now the expression we're saying is very simple. We have total employees already. We have employees that have left already. So we take our total employee. We know, okay, the employees that have left, we have to do a subtraction. That's what we're actually trying to do here. So now I'm saying calculate. Now, what do I want to calculate? I said calculate the total employee. I want to calculate the total employees now. Once you're done calculating the total employees, I'm not trying to say, okay, now look at what he's telling me. Say filter. There's this, he's prompting me to say filter. What do I want to filter? I want to filter the total employee when the attrition, that's the attrition column now, is actually yes, which means the employee is no longer with the company. So now what do I want to filter? I want to say fact. I want to navigate to attrition. I'll say employee attrition. When the employee attrition is equal to, I want to say is yes. When the employee attrition is equal to yes. So that's automatically calculates the employee that has left the company for me because the attrition is yes. Now, what do I want to do next? I want to tell him now that I want you to return a value for me, and the value you're going to return for me should be the percentage of the employees that have left. So remember I said for you to get that value, you just have to do a division. So we're going to say divide now. We're going to say divide. That's numerator. Okay. We refer to our variable we already created as the total employee. That's the total employee now. Divide it, comma, by the employee that has left the company. Employee that has left the company. Then we close. It's going to throw an error because I didn't close the brackets. Okay, it did already for me. So it did close. Now, we need to be sure if what we did is right. So I have to take another card visual again. Take another card visual. Then I'll say, let's try attrition rates. I'm getting 6.2. I'm getting 6.0, 6.20. Okay, so let me just confirm this. I'll stay on attrition again, and I'll click on percent. Let's see if this is going to show any percentage. Okay, so this is not giving us what we want. So I'll click on it back. I'll simply come back here and fix where I think we made the mistake. It's supposed to be, I'll go back to the DAX measure and fix it now. It's supposed to be employee that has left.
Exactly. I saw it. I wanted to point it out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I made a mistake there. So, and the total employees. So once I hit enter now, this is going to change. This will change. Yeah. So once this is changed, I'll stay on my attrition and convert it to percentage. Once I do that, I'm going to get the percentage of employee that has left. That's 16.12% employees have actually left the company. Now, like I said, this is the employees that have actually left the company. That's attrition, people that have left the company. Now, what about people that are still in the company? How many percentage? Now, what we're actually doing here is saying out of these 1,470, we're saying that 16.12% have left the company. So how many percent of the people, how many percent of the employee are still with the company? So we need to do another measure, a simple measure again, calculating the employee retention rate. Is actually similar to what we've already done. So I'll just come back here to this attrition rate. I'll come back here. Sorry, I have to do this so that will be fast. I'll simply copy everything you have here. I'll hit Control C. Then I'll come back again and say, I want to create a new measure now. I'll create a new measure. Once I create this new measure, so this, I want to call this retention rate, not attrition rate anymore. I want to call this retention rate. I'll say retention rate in percentage. I'll say equal to, then I'll just hit shift. I'll hold down shift and press enter so I can go to the next line and press Ctrl V. Now remember, I don't need this anymore. This attrition rate. Now I only need, whose mic is on, please? I only need to change one thing here. The only thing I need to, please help us with your mic, please. I only need to change one thing here. When the attrition is no longer yes, when it's no, because we're looking for employees that are still in the company. So once I do that, I hit my enter button. So we have a new measure now called retention rate. I think I spelled retention wrong, so just click on it. Remove one E. Spelled it wrong again, so click on it.
I think it's not going to work. We need to call the retention at the bottom where we divide.
No,
Change the name of.
We've done that already.
If you have total left, look at what I'm saying. You have total left divided by total employee.
Yeah, I know I have total left. So you can actually, but the most important thing is, even though I'm calling it the variable total left, but I've actually changed the attrition to no. Okay, I'll come back to what you're saying now, but let me just show you something so you understand what I'm saying now. If I come back here now and say a card visual and I put retention, see retention 0.84. If I convert the retention to percentage, now you're having 83.33. Now, if you sum these two together, you discover you get 100%, but you're actually right. So I'll just come back to the retention rate. Now, I'll just change this. No longer employee that has left, employee. I'll just say employee that are still in the company, which is employee remains. So it just, then I have to come back here and rename this no longer left, employee that are still remaining in the company. So it's actually a naming thing, but the most important thing is I'm actually calculating the total employee, and I've already changed the attrition to no, meaning I only need the employee that are still in the company. But since I was using left here. This is a variable that is just holding this value for me. Now, the variable name is not really an issue, but the value is holding is actually the most important thing. That's why I actually got the correct answer, even though the variable name wasn't named properly. But now I've actually corrected it, so it's in order also. So now we've succeeded in getting the numbers of employees that are still in the company, the percentage of employees that are still in the company, and the percentage of employees that have actually left the company. So we have our card visuals already. Here we can say, okay, attrition rates, then we can see retention rates here. So now the first question is, let's go back to the first question and check. So what is the distribution of ages among employees in the data set? Can we identify any specific grouping? So first we need to visualize the employee age group by let's say the job roles, the department, and what other thing can we actually use to visualize that. So I'll just come here and pick a stack bar chart. Once I click on the stack bar chart, what do we want to actually visualize right now? We want to visualize first, let's say, what's the total numbers of employees we have right now? And among these total numbers of employees we have right now, what's the age group of these employees? So if I click on age class, first I click on the total number of employees on the DAX measures. Now, what's the age class of these employees we have? So I click on age class. Now, here is my bar stack column. Let me take it so you can see it clearly. I'll zoom out a bit. So look at it here. So from what we can see here already, the age group 26 to 35 are actually more in the company. The age group 26 to 35, they're actually more in the company. Is everybody seeing it, please? So the age group 26 to 35 are actually more. Then the next age group we have in the company is actually 36 to 45. That's the next age group we have in the company. Then we have 46 to 55. Now, 18 to 25 years old, they are not much. Then we have 56 and above. So the best thing to clean this up so we can see it clearly, I'll just come to the visualization here. I'll come to format visual. And when you format the visual, I want to clean the visual up a little. I'll go to my y-axis. I'll say I don't need the title. I don't need the title for the y-axis because we're already seeing that this is the age here already. This is the age here already. That's the age already. Now, one thing also, on the x-axis, you're seeing 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 to 700. It doesn't really go well with me. So what I'll do, I'll come to the x-axis. First, I don't need these total employees on this x-axis. I'll say I don't need these total employees. Then these values on the x-axis, I don't need them also. Now, what am I going to do now? I'm now going to go to my data label. It's off actually, so I'm going to put it on. This will now enable me see the actual number to this age group we have. So 26 to 35 years, we actually have 606. While 36 to 45, we have 465 employees. Now 46 to 55, we have 226 and all that. So that settles that for now. This is actually now the total number of employees we have in the company by the different age group within the company. And as you can see, we can actually then say that, okay, between the ages of 26 to 35, we have them more in the company. So this is actually similar to what I have in my dashboard here. Let me see if I can find that dashboard. Okay. So this is similar to what I have with the dashboard here already, which we are trying to recreate. Just give it a little time so it will load.
Sorry, you didn't send the dashboard to us.
No, don't worry. You get okay. This dashboard you're talking about. Don't worry, you get the dashboard. You get the dashboard. Don't worry, you get it. So you get this dashboard. It's not this dashboard you're talking about. That's what we're actually in the process of building the dashboard, but you still get the dashboard also. So now we actually have by the age group already, which is okay, it's a different age group here, but it's the same thing. Now by the age group, we have by the department here. Then we also have by department, we also have by the job role. So the next one we're going to do now is we're going to see the number of employees, then the different job roles. Then gender is actually a critical thing here, so maybe we'll add gender to it. So now this age group we already created here, we need to know within this age group, how many are males, how many are females? How many are males, how many are females? So for us to do that, if we come to our visualization, all we need to do is just go to format. In our visual pane here, we have legend. You know what legend does. So I'll just take this gender, I'll drop it at legend. Once I do that, I'm going to have this my stacked column now into two colors. Now, the female, we have more male within this age group in the company than female. We have more male compared to female. For all the age group, we have more males. We have more males. For all the age group, we have more males. to now we need to know the number of employees by the different department and the job role. So how do we do that now? Now we need to take another chart. Now there's something about visualization and data analysis. Earlier when I started back like 3 years ago, I was so interested. I was much more concerned about how I will build a very fine dashboard, how the dashboard will look so beautiful and great. Like, you have so many things moving and it's so fine. But later, as time goes by, I realized that data analysis is actually not about building a very fine dashboard. It's not about saying, okay, instead of using a bar chart or a column chart, I'll go and use something really unique that would stand. No, it's about simplicity. The person you're presenting the report to is not a data analyst. The person is just maybe your head of department. So your information you are presenting to this person should be as simple as possible, that when the person looks at it, the person should be able to decode and say, okay, oh, this is what you're telling me. So, for example, so you don't need to go and be trying to make things so complex and so beautiful. If you know very well that a bar chart or a stack column or whatever can actually pass the information accurately, use it. Don't go using something that will make the information more complex. For example, now, when looking at this bar chart, you can easily tell here that, okay, the dark side is for male. Okay, the fact that we have the age group 26 to 35 more, we have actually more male compared to female. Very simple. We don't need to complicate issues. So now we go back to job roles. So like I said, job roles, we're going to pick another column, another bar chart. Now, what do we want to do? We want to view the total number of employees. We want to view the job roles also. So now I'm going to come to my DAX measure again. I'm going to click on total number of employees. Then I'm going to come down to, because what we're doing now, we're working with the employee demographics. Then I'm going to come to the job role and click on job role. Now, when I click on job role, you see another bar chart again. Now we have 9 job roles. We have 9 job roles. Now, out of the 9 job roles, sales executives are more in the company compared to the human resource. Amazingly, this report, we're building this for the human resource department. But the human resource department, they are actually, in fact, they don't have much people in the human resource department. But for us to be clear on the number of persons we have in the human resource department, so let's quickly clean this visual again. Let's come to our x-axis first. First, we don't need the values. We don't need the title. Now let's go to our y-axis. Now we don't need the title in our y-axis. Now let's go to our data label. So we actually see the numbers we're talking about here. Amazing. Now, if I expand this, see what's happening here. Of the 1,470 employees or so, see the numbers of employees that are in the human resource department. They are just 52. And we're actually presenting this report to them. They are the ones asking for this report. And they are just 52 in the entire company. But the sales executive, because this is a sales company, there are more, there are almost 326. We have then the research scientists, laboratory technicians, the manufacturing director, healthcare representative, manager, and all that. So for each of the job role, you can see the number of employees we have in each of the job roles already. So we've succeeded in answering another question, another critical question. One question, we said, okay, this is the age group of the people you have in the company. Now, for the job roles you have in the company, see the number of employees you have in each of the job roles. Next, we're not going to look at the department, each department, what's the number of employees you have in each department. What do I do again? I think the best visual I can use for this is, I still want to use that's the start column again, and I'll come back here. I'll click on total employees again. Then I'll come down here and go to department this time around and see, I want to see by department. So of the 3 departments that we have, the research and development department actually holds the highest number of employees. So for us to clean that up again, what I'll do, I'll go to the x-axis once more, I'll off the title, I'll off the values. Now I'll come back off the title, Then I'll go to my data label down here is off. I'll put it on. Now, in the Department of the Human Resource, we have research and development. We have 900 and that's 961. We have 446. We have 63. Now, we can actually view this by gender. So even the sales executive, we want to know how many are males and how many are females. So while we are on that visual, I'll simply come and take my gender again. I'll take it to the legend. Once I do that, you see the split again, telling me the numbers of employees that are actually male and the numbers of employees that are actually female. Very easy to tell. I'll do that for department also. To do that for department, I'll simply take the gender again. I'll drop it at the legend. Then I see that, okay, for the research and development, you actually have more male than female generally. Now, we can just answer a simple question here for us to know how many males and female we actually have in the company. Now, this time around, I can just pick a donut chart. This is a donut chart. I'll click on the donut chart. Now, I'll drag the donut chart up here. Let me expand it. First, I want to grab the total number of employees. Yeah, I'll grab the total number of employees. Then I want to grab the gender. So we can split. Now, you can easily tell the total employees we have, 60% of them are actually male, while 58% of them are actually, 40% of them are actually female. So it's easy for you to actually detect also. So I'm going to collapse all this so we can make a very simple arrangement before we go to the attrition rate. Now I'm going to just simply make a simple arrangement here. Simple arrangement here. This one is still too big. Now, we're not really concerned about how the dashboard is going to look today. We just want to get all our visuals in place. I'll drop this here. Now, there's a question we need to answer, and that question is, what is the distribution of education level among employees? Now, the distribution of the education level among employees. Now, we have education level in our data. You know, we have education here. And this is the education number, which is more like a level. Now, of the employee, they have the education level from 1 to 5, 1 being the least educated, 5 being the most educated. So we want to see how our employees are distributed along this education level. So what do we do again? So because I really want to see the percentage, I'll just take a donut chart again. I'll take a donut chart again this time around. And we're still working with the total number of employees. I'll go back and grab my total number of employees. So you see why it's very important to create a measure, to create your measure. So we've been using the total employee for almost everything we've been doing. I'll click on the total number of employees again. I'll click on total number of employees again. Then I'll come down and say, okay, education. I'll click on education. Now it's summing education. I'll take it to agent. Now this is education. This is education. So you can see from here already, 38% of our employees. Let me expand this so you see it clearly. 38.9% of our employees are actually level 3 educated, which is more like above average. Then only 3% of our employees are actually 5 level education. The education level is actually 5, which is the highest level of education. So we have 27% being in the 4th level. So it's actually pretty awesome. Also, we can see the level of education by each employee there, the total employee that we have. So I'll just take this now. I'll take this, I'll put it here. I'll put it here. Now, remember, we said attrition is actually the percentage of employees that have actually left the company. So we have some questions to answer about that. So if we come back here now, it said, does marital status impact attrition rate? Does marital status impact attrition rate? So we'll come back again to our Power BI. When they mean my attrition rate, the rate at which people are leaving, is it that single people leave more compared to married people or divorced people? So I don't know. So first, I'll go grab another donut chart because I really want to use a donut chart to see this visual. I'll grab a donut chart now. Okay, let me collapse this. Come here, grab another donut chart. So I have this selected on select, grab a donut chart now. This is my donut chart. Now we already have, remember, we created a measure that is calculating attrition rate already. Look at it up here, attrition rate, which is the rate at which employees are leaving the company. So I'll select that measure, that attrition rate. Once I have it selected, I'll come down and select marital status. We have 3 marital status there, single, married, and divorced. So let me expand so you see clearly again. Now, from what I am seeing here, I'm seeing that single people leave the company more compared to any other set of persons. Yeah. So single people, 53% of the people that left the company, they're actually single. 53% of them that left the company are actually single. They were not married, which means single people tend to leave the company more compared to people that are divorced and people that are married. It's as simple as ABC. When the HRO head sees this, he already knows that, okay, single people tend to be leaving the company more compared to married or divorced couples also. So we have this again, another key visual here. I'll just drop it here. Don't worry about the arrangement. We're not concerned about the arrangement yet. We'll take care of that. Now, we're not going to go back to another vital question we want to answer again. Now, single people, we already said that they live more. Now, we'll come back to, he's not asking, how, he said, the question, the next question now is, how does the frequency of business travel correlate with attrition? How does the frequency of business travel correlate with attrition? That question is actually saying, we have a column here. If you go to our data view and come to our facts, now we have a column called business travel. Business travel is the employee. How often does the employee travel? Some are non-travel. They don't travel. Some don't travel at all. Some travel frequently. Some travel rarely. So the travel group for employees is into 3 categories. The ones that travel often, the ones that travel rarely, and the ones that don't travel at all. I worked as a medical sales representative one time, and I traveled a lot. And while I was traveling a lot, my regional manager she travels rarely, but my CMD, he doesn't travel at all. He remains in one place. So that's just basically what they're asking us here. So the question now is, the people that are leaving the company, are they people that travel often or rarely or frequently and all that? So they want us to know, they want to tell us, they want us to tell them that. So we can use any for that, but I'll just take a stack bar chart again. Remember the importance of having your DAX measure already prepared. I already have a DAX measure called attrition rate, which is the percentage of people that are leaving the company. So I'll go back and pick my attrition rate again. Now, what do I want to do now? I'll come down to my, that's my employees, and pick on business travel. Awesome. Now, if you look at business travel by attrition percentage, look at it. Travel frequently, 24.94%. Travel frequently, which means people that tend to travel frequently, they are the ones actually leaving the company. People that travel frequently are the ones actually leaving the company. People that rarely travel, they are not leaving that much. Then people that don't travel at all, just 8% of them are actually leaving. So that tells you now that as the HRO, once the HRO sees this, okay, so the people that are actually leaving the company more, they're actually people that travel frequently. Maybe they are leaving the company because they are tired of risking their lives, or they don't want to travel that often anymore. So let's just clean this. Let's clean this a little. I'll come back here. Now, the reason I'm actually doing this little cleaning now is not proper. If you have this bar chart now, this star column, if you have this now, it's not actually proper to be having this business travel labeled by the side here, because we're already seeing the business travel here. We know travel frequently, travel rarely, non-travel, and we're also going to give this our visual a title. So this business travel title we're having by the side here, it doesn't really make sense anymore. So I'll come back here, I'll come to the y-axis, I'll turn it off. Now, always see that I'm always turning the attrition percentage off here too, the attrition rate off here. it there anymore because we're already seeing it. So I'll come to the x-axis and turn it off. Now you can choose to do two things. You can choose to do two things. When I mean two things is, you can decide to leave your label on the x-axis showing 0, 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, 25, and all that without adding your label to it. But then that means you're going to be stressing the person that is going to view the report. When I mean stress, that means the person has to look at this column now and trace it down to see the value associated with that column. You see, now you have to be tracing it down. That I feel that is a bit stressful. So that's why I just opt to, I come and I decide to say, okay, you know what, this x-axis is off the value. Don't show the value underneath there. Just add the data label to it. So the person can actually see the value associated to each bar. Travel frequently, 24.9%, travel rarely, 14.96%, and all that. So that settles this. That settles this now. So succeeded in answering this question. Answering this question. Succeeded in answering this question. Like I said, don't worry about the arrangement of all visuals yet. We'll come to that. Now, we're still going to do two more things. The attrition. Like I said, we're working on attrition. Everything we're doing is about attrition. Why are people leaving? Who are the people leaving? That's the question. Now, the attrition, they also want to know the attrition rate. The people that are leaving the company, which age group are leaving the company more? They want to also know that. Which age group are leaving the company more? We already have a column for age group already. So we just have to come back now and say we want to create another bar chart or stack column of the right code now. And now we want to know the attrition. We have our DAX measure attrition rate. Now we have to go to our age group. That's our age class that we created before now. Go to our age class now. Click on our age class. Awesome. Now from here, I can easily tell that the young people are actually leaving the company more compared to every other age group. When I mean more, 18 to 25, they are the people actually leaving more compared to any other age group. 18 to 25, 35% of the people leaving the company, they are between the ages of 18 to 25 years. And to me, I feel that is actually, it makes more sense because they're actually young people. They tend to change career a lot. They are probably looking for greener pastures and all that. But then if you now look, if you come down, 56 years and above, they are actually leaving also. 17% of them are leaving also. So we just have to do this now and clean it up again, like I always do. On the x-axis are off the value and the title. Then the y-axis are only off the title because I want the title to, I want the values to show. Then I'll go down here and on my data label. So you can see it clearly. 35%, 19%, 17%, 11%, and 9%. Now, one thing I want to add to this visual, I know there are different gender, male and female. So I just want to add the gender now to our legend. So I'll see male and female for each age group, which one is living more. Awesome. Now see something interesting. See something interesting here. For the young age group between the ages of 18 to 25, they are leaving the company more, but females are actually leaving the company more compared to male, which means not only that the young between the 18 to 25 years are leaving the company, there are more females are actually leaving the company more compared to male for that age group. So that answers a critical question with this visual already. So I'm just going to take this and bring it down here. So that will bring us to one more question. That's the final question. So the final question now is, okay, maybe we'll change that. The final question now is, what is the correlation between the age and the number of companies worked for? What is the correlation between the age and the number of companies worked for? So they're trying to say there's a correlation between the age and the number of companies worked for. Now they're asking us the correlation. What they mean is, if you come to our data set, we have different age class and age. Look at the ages we have here. We already know that we have employees between the ages of 18 to 60. You can see it here, 18 to 60. Now, we have a column showing numbers of company worked for. I can remember very well that as when I was 23 years old, I've only worked for one company. I only changed company when I was 26. So that's basically what they're asking here. Given the ages of our employee, how many of them can you tell? Is there a correlation is it that people that are older have worked for like 10 companies, or people that are younger have worked for like one company or so? I don't know. We can't actually tell by merely looking at the data like this. But we can actually do a scatter plot, which is actually one of the visuals that is actually very effective in visualizing correlation between two different data sets, a data point also. Now, I want to do a simple thing here to show you what we're trying to say. This is our age column. I want to filter this age column now. I want to filter it and say, let me just check the people that the people that are between the ages of, let's say, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Let's filter and click on OK. Now, I'll filter the data with certain age. Then I'll come to numbers of company worked for. Now, if I come to numbers of company worked for, as I scroll down, you see that a lot of them within that age range I selected actually worked for one company. Look at it here. But not just all of them. Some have actually worked for more than one company, but a lot of them have worked for one company. So if I continue to scroll down, now see, somebody that is between that same age has worked for 7 companies. Somebody has worked for 3, somebody has worked for 9, somebody has worked for 6. So the different number of companies you've worked for that we're having, the number of companies you worked for, we have values from 0 to 9, is actually scattered among that age we filtered now. That's 28 to 34 years. So among people we have in the company, people that are between the ages of 28 to 34 that we just filtered out, there are people in that age range that have worked for 7 companies. Some have worked for 8 companies, some have worked for 6 companies, some have worked for 4. So how do we now determine the correlation between the age and the number of companies they've worked for? So we can actually tell that, okay, more people between this age group have worked for one company, more than 1 or 2 companies. So for us to do that, I'll just clear these filters. I'll clear all filters because I don't want to filter. I'll go back to my report view now. Now, like I said, the scatter plot is one of the visuals that you can actually use to do correlation between two values. Now, the values we're talking about now is the age and the numbers of companies you've worked for. So I'll select the scatter plot here. I'll select the scatter plot. This is the scatter plot. Now, on my x-axis, I want to display the age. I want to show, okay, I want to see the age. Then you want to see the number of companies you've also worked for. That's what we're interested in. So I'll simply select age. Then this is number of companies you've worked for. I'll select number of companies you've worked for. Now, we're actually not seeing anything. That's because the age is actually summing. We don't want to sum the age. We want it to display. Don't summarize. We don't want it to summarize the age because it's summing the age. You know, the age is a value, is a whole number. So it's summing the entire number together. We don't want to sum it. So we just right click on the age here. Right click and say, don't summarize. So now, this still doesn't make sense. This scatter plot still doesn't make sense for now because yes, we are seeing the age. If you look down your x-axis here, you are seeing the age from 0, 20, 30, 40, 50 to 60. Because we actually have, if you remember the age we have from 18 to 60. So we're having the age, but this scatter plot doesn't make any sense now because if you look at our y-axis, you're seeing 0 to 200 and all that. That's number of companies work for. Remember, number of companies work for is between 0 to 9. So these values here is actually wrong. Now, what do we need to do? There's a reason we calculate average when we're doing analysis sometimes. When we're doing analysis, we calculate average just to know that, okay, for this age range we have, let's take an average. We get an average of the number of companies these people have likely worked for. So that's what we need to do here. So when I come back here now for this number of companies, I right click, and I say average. Now, the entire visual scatter plot is beginning to make more sense. But then we're still having overlapping layers here. This is 60 and this is 5 to 6. So what I'll do now, I'll come to format. Then I'll come to my x-axis. This is my x-axis. I know that the value in my x-axis is between 18 to 60. So I can actually say the minimum value, even if we say 0, the maximum, we should say something like 65. So we can have the values. Come out. Then instead of saying minimum, the minimum age we have there is actually 18. So we put 18 here. So actually set the minimum. So we can actually take it, let's say 10. So we can push it forward a little. Okay, yeah, from 10, minimum value should be 10, or let me make it 17. Yeah, 17. Maximum value should be 65. I know the minimum value I have is 18. So I'm just stepping it one number down so that I can get any extra value that is hidden. Then I know the maximum value is 60. I'm stepping it with 5 numbers up. Now I'll do the same thing for the y-axis. I know the minimum is actually 1 because so we have people that have worked for 0 companies. So I'll put 0. Then I want the maximum to be 7. So I can have the entire data endpoint, all the endpoints figured out here. So now this is our scatter plot. Now you'll be wondering what's going on in this scatter plot. Scatter plot is actually telling us that if you check between the ages of 20, this is as when you have 20 years old, if you trace it up, it's trying to tell you that these people you have here are people that have actually worked for less than 1 year, one company. They work for less than one company. But to make this scatter plot actually display the values we actually want, we now have to go and take the total number of employees we have to the size. This is the size to tell us we are working with the total number of employees. That's what we want to work with. Once we do that, we have these bubbles that are actually too big. So I'll come back to my format. I'll come back to my markers. I want to reduce the size. They are too big, so it can make more sense. Okay, great. Now this is the size. Now you have more people between this age here. Okay, what do I do now? Let me just click on insert. Hold on, please. I'm trying to make sure you get a few. Okay. Now this is what I'm trying to say. The people around this region. If I come to format now and click on shape and click on style, I don't want any fill. Yeah. So the people around this circle I just drew now, that's what the scatter plot is trying to say. The people around this circle I drew now, if you look at it very well, it's trying to tell you that those people are between the ages of 25 to 45. They've worked for at least 2 companies and above. Average. See the average here. See the 2 companies to 5 companies. That's what it's trying to tell you. So we can actually put what we call a constant line to this our scatter plot. One thing we can also do, we can add something like gender to this our scatter plot. If we put gender in legend, now it spreads it according to gender. Now what you're seeing here now, you're seeing female with the light blue, then you're seeing male with the darker blue. Now, like I said, we can also put a constant line to show the values we're actually targeting. So what I'll do now is I'll just come to the grid line. I'll turn them off. I don't want the grid line. Then I'll go to analysis. Now I want to add a constant line on the x-axis. Now the constant line on the x-axis, I want to see people that have worked for at least let's say people that are 25 years of age. I want to see people that are 25 years of age. Now you see the line that is there already. Now people that are 25 years of age and they've worked for 2 companies. That's what we want to see. At least 2 companies. Now, what we're trying to say now is look at this portion of this scatter plot. I want you to pay attention to this portion of this. Look at this portion here. Look at this portion here that I have this rectangle. This portion here is actually people between the ages of that's 18 to 25 years. Look at it here. This one I have here now. On this yeah. So this set of people I have in this rectangle I have here now, there are people that are between the ages of 18 to 25. And if you see them, they are not much, but they've actually worked for minimum 2 companies. Nobody have actually worked for more than 3 companies. That's just what this scatter plot is trying to say. So with this scatter plot, we can now see there's a correlation between number of age and number of company works for. I think as people get older, look at them as they are going between the ages of 25, from 25 to 50, they've worked for more than 2 companies to 4 companies to 5 companies and all on an average. That's what this data is trying to say. So with that, we're going to end the class here today. We've succeeded in creating all the visuals we need for the report. We've created all the visuals now. So to get this report, to get this layout and everything, we're going to do that tomorrow. To get this layout, to do the navigation, so we can click on rows, by job rows, by department, by age group, this entire layer, the icons and everything. We're going to do that tomorrow. If you see this scatter plot we have here is actually similar to what we have here already. So we're going to do that tomorrow. So by tomorrow, we're going to add our UI to this report and format the report and make it exactly what we have on the other side. If you have any question, you can actually drop it on the WhatsApp group. Maybe we share the data with you guys, so when you receive the video, you can actually practice and do everything we've done here. If anybody has any question for me, now will be the right time for the question before we end the session for today.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you for your time. So then I want to ask, between Power BI and Excel, which is more how do I put it now? Which gives more job? Which give more job? And because to me now, I can see that Power BI is more visual, and then Excel is a bit more explanatory and easy to catch up. Though I catch up, I think I'm catching up with this because my background is on Excel, so at least I don't have any more issue with this. So once I watch the video, I know by the grace of God I'll be fine. So then, for you that you have been there, you know what is going on in the industry, which of them will you advise your students to focus, to pay more attention to, so that we can know where, so that because if you are doing Excel, you are doing Power BI, probably you may not be that good in what at both.
Let me now answer. The workspace, to be sincere with you, the workspace is highly competitive. Highly competitive. Now you are arguing about we are talking about if we should go to Excel or Power BI, any of them, but the workspace is actually really competitive. Now there's organizations that you only use Excel, but there are organizations that you need Power BI. But now the interesting thing is you can't be applying for roles with just Excel or roles with just Power BI. It's like stack. You need to, the minimum stack a data analyst should have is 3. When I say minimum, 3. And when the minimum is, you should have a good knowledge of Excel, you should have a very good knowledge of Power BI, then you should have a good knowledge of SQL. Those are the 3 stack minimum you should have before you start going to maybe having Python and the rest, or Arrow and the rest. But the minimum you should have to get to get an entry role in the industry right now, you should have those 3 basic stack. And I'm being sincere with you. The reason I'm saying that is because when you want to apply for these job roles, there are people that are already stacked already. They know Excel, they know Power BI, they know Tableau, they know Arrow. they know Python. Now, these companies, sometimes when you come in, like what my boss used to say, entering the company, they will put you through so much interview. Do you know Power BI? Do you know R? Do you know this? But when you enter, you can end up just doing Power BI. But you need to have a sound knowledge of the tools before you go in. Now, the interesting thing is, if you know Excel, Power BI won't stress you. If you know Excel, Power BI won't be difficult for you to grasp. That's why sometimes they say start from Excel, just get the background knowledge of Excel, know Excel. When you know Excel, Power BI won't stress you. Now, once you have a good knowledge of Power BI, if you decide to say, okay, you don't want to use Power BI, you want to go to Tableau, another visualization tool, it still won't stress you because you have a knowledge of Power BI already. Then there's SQL. SQL is a different ballgame entirely, but it's still not stressful. These things, it take a little time, but there are things you can actually learn. Now that you know Excel, you can actually add Power BI, which is a visualization tool to it. Then maybe later you progress and add SQL. Those are actually, I'm being sincere, for you to get a good job as a data analyst. Entry, this is entry level, not senior, not intermediate, entry. You need to have this minimum 3 stack with you. 3 stack with you first before you are able to navigate, because it's actually highly competitive. It's highly competitive. As I'm talking to you now, I'm still thinking of if I should. I did a little bit of Arrow, I did a little bit of Python, but I'm still trying to figure out, like, okay, should I just continue with the Python? Should I continue with Arrow? I already know Excel, I know Power BI, I know Tableau, I know SQL, I do my SQL, I do PostgreSQL, but I'm still trying to stack up because I know for me to go to the next level, to get to that next role, I need those stack. That's just the minimum requirement to get any job. Now, you can actually get the job and you end up doing only Excel there. But for you to get the job, you need the 3. That's just the thing.
So are there certification for each of them?
Okay, if there are certifications for each of them. Now, apart from the certification we're going to give you, maybe when you attend our training, apart from the certification we're going to give you, we're also going to guide you to also get the Microsoft certification. And when I mean the Microsoft certification, that's the Microsoft Certified Data Analyst Associate. That certification. We're also going to guide you how you take the exam. You pass the exam, you get certified. I already have 3 or 2 or 3 of that. I'm planning to add the Power Platform to that before the end of the year. So we'll give you the 3 or 2, the most important, the 2 basic, very important certification. That's the Data Fundamental Certification and the Power BI Associate Certification. These are certifications that you actually need to show that, okay, yes, you know what you're doing, you know your craft. Then now we guide you on how to take the exam and pass the exam. Because if you know these things we're doing here already, the exam, is even open book. So the exam is actually open book, which means you can be looking at your book and writing, but you don't have time. But with the knowledge we're going to give to you, you should be able to sit for the exam confidently without any stress. You should be able to sit for the exam.
Okay, so now my last question is this. Sorry, my last question now is that having done the Microsoft Excel, whether PL 300 or so, but for us that we don't, I know people who does not have science background, they do data analysis and they excel, they get role. But then, is it possible for one who does not even have science background, who does not even have who is on the probably the commercial student and all that, the business student, is it possible for them to get an offer, a role with just your certificate or with the Microsoft certificate? So which of them does this industry prefer?
Okay. Now, one thing I can assure you is you will get a role. When I mean you will get a role, is my background, for example. I'm not I don't come from how will I say it now? I'm not a statistics or computer science or data science or all that. I come from a pharmacy background, health background. So you see where I'm coming from. I don't know if you get so, but that is not what got me the job I got now. What you can actually do. That's why we sing. That's why we sing that during the boot camp, during the training we are giving to you, you're going to create a data analyst portfolio. And when I mean create a data analyst portfolio, you display what you can do. Your portfolio will show the things you can actually do. Now, if you are able to show what you can actually do, that is what gets you the job. Because when you send your CV, yes, you have maybe a background in business studies, or you are educated. That means you can communicate. You have you have a good level of communication. You have a good level of how will I call it? You've done some things. You have a work experience on any other thing you've been doing before now. But now, when it comes to data analysis, it's about what you can do. It's not now. When I mean what you can do now, you have a certification that you can do this thing, and you have a portfolio that shows that you still can do this thing. What I mean by portfolio, if I come here now, if I come here and type my portfolio project. Now, anytime I'm sending my CV, I always send my link to my portfolio project. And when I mean by portfolio project, this is me trying to tell them that these are the things that I can do. I have several projects I have done. I did this analysis like 2 weeks ago for one challenge like that. I actually won the challenge. So it's me trying to tell them that this is what I can do. I have several projects here, different projects on different field. So you send your portfolio along with your CV to show what you can do, to show what you can do. That is what will get you the job. That is what will get you the job. So we're going to stop here for today. Then tomorrow we'll continue. Like I said, we'll complete the dashboard tomorrow. It's really nice to have you guys, and I appreciate you guys. I hope I see you guys tomorrow also.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate. Only that the video was breaking intermittently.
Please, are we going to get the videos as well to our mail?
Co-ax actually, are we gonna get the video?
Chinyere said we should send a DM to her, I guess.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Hello, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So we are sorry for the internet that we had earlier. So the problem is actually, I think that the problem is from the people that registered for this bootcamp. Okay. So we have a WhatsApp Zoom account that can actually accommodate 100 people. All right, but we have over 300, almost 400 people that registered for this bootcamp, and that affected us not to use that account, and now it's affecting the internet because we are having lesser people on the call. Okay, also we are sorry about the internet connection. It's actually not our problem, but I think people that registered, you just see a link and you see free something and you just registered, even when you have no interest. All right, so we are sorry about that, and tomorrow will be better. Okay. So guys, for everybody
are we using Zoom tomorrow or Google Meet? What platform are we using tomorrow?
We will still use it because everybody has this this thing now. So we'll sort out the internet and everything will work out fine tomorrow, please. So we are not sure if we have more than 100 people. So we don't want to exaggerate, and then at the end we meet more than 100 people on the call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. How about the recording for this class?
So hello, can you hear me? Hello. So yeah, what I did with the recording, so I've screenshotted everybody's name that are on this call. So I have all the names of people that are on the call. So I will send me a DM and I will check through my list here because I just want to be sure we filter those that are not interested. Okay. So because it's actually affecting us, taking our time, sending all the materials and all that, at the end, they will not join the call. It's not making sense at all, to be honest. So just send me a DM, direct my DM, or send to me, not Ifasa, just send to me and I'll send the recording to you. Okay, is that okay?
Okay.
All right, bye everyone.